Good morning, Tokilupe, and thank you so much for coming on to this interview with me. I really appreciate it. I'd like to introduce you first. So your name is Tokilupe Nadz, and you are the founder and CEO of Reigniting You. And what you do in your coaching business is you're supporting tenacious and passionate women who are done feeling stuck in the pain of separation and divorce to courageously let go, heal, and live a life they desire. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, great, thank you. And so the reason why I'm conducting these interviews is to raise awareness of how many times in our lifetime we are facing adversity, and I'd like to show our viewers the many ways how people have overcome adversity to help them if they are stuck in the problem. So if I may ask you, what is the challenge you would like to talk about with us today?
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me in your space, sharing what I have learned along the way for 44 years and in so many other areas of my life. I do believe now, looking back with so much gratitude, that we women are born with pain. And this pain in different facades and different perspectives and different areas in our life, we continue the pain. Like what I mean is we give birth. A lot of us who are able to have children, we go through that pain. We come through that pain to this world. And I truly believe, looking back, I have so many, I cannot count how many adversities or challenges and problems, and I made huge of mistakes as a contributor to a lot of my adversities. And
thank you for saying that. And sorry if I interrupt you here, but that's a very interesting and important point. I think that so many times we contribute to creating the adversity because we don't know any better at the time.
Yeah. We do. We purely unconsciously living what we see and learn from our society, first from home. There is a saying in my belief, in my culture, and we grow up with that the first school is home. And whether our parents, my parents, know that school, they knew it consciously, but unconsciously in a way, they just playing out how they were brought up. And going back to my journey of now looking back at so many adversities, challenges, and that I myself went through, and like I mentioned before, I contribute to each and every single one of them.
And may I interrupt you again? You mentioned your culture. May I ask what your background is?
I'm Tongan.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, and it's family and connection is a huge part of our fabric and our families and our culture. It's we don't get to choose who we have to hang out with. Families is very strong. Even when and from that, when I don't get to choose, I learned that I had to show up in every single family meeting, whether I like it or not like it. And I grew up in an island. It's a Christianity island. It's 100% Christianity. We had no other religion back in my island, apart from Christianity. Different names, but the same belief. And I brought up as a very religious girl, going to church like 4 times a week, early in the morning, at nighttime, throughout. And that's something that I will touch base later, maybe in the question, but I have cultivated a very strong faith from a very young age. What I have seen in my life from all these adversities, and there are some of them that were horrible. And I do believe that if someone else walked in my shoe in those times, they will already be quit. Wow. All of them is an accumulation of who I used to think I should be growing up to the moment where I was 39, almost 40, and all this accumulation. I was once accused of having an affair before I was married. I was married, and I was accused by the very people that I trust and look up to and believe that they will protect me. And I was accused I was having an affair. I was 25 years old, not 25, 17, 18 years old in that time. And I felt so alone. There was no one, even my mother cannot even stand up for me. And that comes from with so much love, and I have forgiven, and forgiveness, if that came from my dad. And going from that, I always feel I was the oldest in my family, and I was expected to be the role model, to be the perfect child, to lead every single time, which it has its benefit, but a lot of it all contribute. So going from that, that was my first adversity. The huge thing that happens in my life that I wanted to just disappear. I never thought once to take my life, never. My faith is something that I always go to. And I did not know it when I was younger, but I always believe that there is something greater than me. There is something greater than me, which leads me to which help and support me in every single challenges after that to overcome. So when I was 39, almost turning 30, and I came to Australia like almost 18 years now, married, and I came here and left everything, was a primary school teacher back home, left my family. I came to Australia for love because I was in love with the person whom I made it up in my mind that will be my forever, my death till do me part, to us part. And I came here and I leave that identity then I'm no longer. I thought that I'm like, it's an escape. That's not what I was aware of in the beginning. Looking back, it was like an escape from wow, I get to make my own decision. I get to live my own life without realizing that everything that happens before comes with me to my new life. So it's there is no such thing in when I look back now as, oh, this is my new life now. Without aware and without like healing and going through the process, I brought all my own life, put it all of them and package it, wrap it in a brand new wrapping with a brand new bow, tie it with a brand new title, and everything was in the past was that I was married when I was 26. 25 years all the way back was inside this new brand wrapping with this new brand new identity of me now as a wife, as a married woman. And now I have my own family with the idea that I can make my own decision, with the idea that I can run my own life, with the idea that I can spread my wings and fly like free of what is, free of the hurt, free of the shame, free of the guilt of why I was born in that family. And as a child, I could not language that because I respect my parents. I love them because there is no other someone else to look after me. And I did the best I could as a child. And now I'm 26 thinking, I'm no longer that person. I'm going to be a new person. And not knowing unconsciously, I was wrapping 25 years of my life with a brand new wrapping, with a brand new bow,
I
with a
love
brand new
that
title,
metaphor.
and moving to Australia, a brand new country, a brand new lifestyle, a brand new everything, environment and people. And yet the old me is coming along as an invisible force that play havoc in my life.
I can so relate to that because I have done exactly the same. When I came to Australia, and I love your metaphor of wrapping your life into a box with a new bow, because it was exactly the same for me. I thought I could escape the problems, but I did the same. I wrapped them and took them with me. Love this. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Yes, it's a very interesting adventure. Looking back, and up to now, it is a different phase of adventure. Having to step out of learning to come out of and be okay with the old wrappings, and not changing like, woo, I'm gonna flip it. I'll flip my life and this is gonna be all brand new. It's looking back when I reached the stage where I decided, because that old 26, that 25-year-old of me and the head little girl that's always questioned her place in her family. Why do I have to be the role model? Why do I have to cope everything? Why is always me? Why me? Why me? Poor me. Come all the way because she was hurt. She was wounded. She was like sacrificed. She was like the sacrificial lamb that bleeds ever so slowly, but wanted and yearning to live and just see herself differently. It plays in my relationship. I become very defiant and rebellious because that version of me of, I get to run my own life. I get to decide. I get to, and this fantasy of couples that I created in my head, which also lift my expectation of being a married woman, lift my expectation of being a wife, lift my expectation of being a daughter-in-law, lift my expectation of being a mother. I just forgot who I was in the process. And I flipped my life because I wanted to experience and to love this new wrapping and this new bow and this new experience. I went from using my heart to just living in my head, because I see when I flip my life with trying to forget the past and build a new life on top of a foundation where it's already like was built on shame and guilt and sadness and angry and frustration and wanting to revenge, the house was not steady. Because when flipping my life, I wanted a new identity, I became rebellious because I want to build this new life that I had in my head. I was rebellious. I always wanted to be right. Everything that I set my mind to, and this is something that really helps me. I was very assertive with what I want. Yet I was assertive in a very unresourceful way of, I went into people pleasing because I did not want to, my new life that I built in my mind, I did not want it to go back to where I used to feel. So I wanted to feel accepted. I wanted to feel a sense of belong, because before I wasn't. I wanted to feel I matter in my family, because this is my new life. I wanted to feel comfortable in the new wrappings, in the new skin, and feel great in the new bow and the new experience that I planted in my head, but that wasn't the case. He was a great husband to where he can be, and where he was. I had a lot of troubles trying to fit in. I was surrounded by this man that I wasn't sure what love really is, because married as a virgin coming from my island is to the first man I have ever seen. And I'm like, I learned everything from him. So again, I was restricted in, my mind was huge. I knew there's a lot of things out there. I am more than what I am, but I was afraid. I was afraid to get out and look at my new wrapping, because I just wanted to live under the new wrapping. There was a lot
comfort.
In the comfort, there was. It was not a lot of comfort. It was, I was driven by my yearning and my needs to feel a sense of significance and a sense of belonging. And everything that I knew in the first 11 or 10 years, 13 years of my marriage, I just shut my mouth, keep the peace. I did not want to disrupt the fabric of the family. I did not want to displease my family back home, let alone displease my ex-husband's. Well, I'm not saying ex-husband, my example husband. What I mean by that is, now I'm looking back, he is the example of what I no longer tolerate in my life.
So would you say, excuse me for interrupting you, but would you say that the adversity you are facing in your relationship came because you started to change, because you stepped out of the people pleaser to somebody who wanted the significance, like you said, and wanted to look after your own needs?
Thank you for asking, Andrea. I truly believe it's not that. It's the accumulation of all the hurt and the pain that I went through in the past, which I, as a young girl, now as a married woman, did not know how to deal with my big emotion. And like I say, I wanted to flip, and this is something that I help my women with, and the people that I work with is so many times we want to transform. We say, I'm going to change, and I'm going to change everything, and then we just flip our life, try to live a life that is different, but haven't deal with the past yet. I did not know how to deal with my past, and when I was 39, I heard a lot of people saying, well, 40 is the beginning of life. I'm thinking, what do they mean by that? I was on the verge of separation. Again, I was separated from my family. I was not allowed to eat dinner with my family. I was with my children. I was not allowed to sit together with my family at the table. I was isolated once again in my life. The life that I wanted so much to build, and we have 3 children. I was again isolated. I back to where I used to feel when I was young. Having that, I was asked to leave home. And what I'm truly grateful, and I'm grateful for every experience now, because I'm looking back, that faith that I have built when I was young and always affirming and always assertive with my decision, I decided, you know what, that's it. I am drawing the lines here. I don't care where I'm going.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not true when I say I don't care. I did care, because I knew that I would be homeless because I have no family here in Australia.
Yeah. Wow. So
at the same time, I walk out.
Yeah. So how did you deal with that, being homeless from pretty much one moment to the other?
Yes, it was on it's 5 years already, and it was on Easter, the Easter weekend.
Wow.
I went to church on that morning. I came home, and that time our relationship has already ended, but we were still living in the same house. I was already, like I said, isolated from, I wasn't allowed to eat dinner and lunch and be with my families. If we have a family gathering at home, I was not allowed to be in the house when the family is there.
May I ask why? I don't quite understand. Why were you not allowed to be part of the family?
It wasn't. It's because I was asked a question, and this is not from my ex-husband. I was asked by my dear mother-in-law.
Okay.
And I was asked the question, do I still love my example husband?
Okay.
And my truest answer to that, no.
And so that was the reason for her to
close you out. Reason is, I look back and I say, wow, what an answer. Yeah. I did not know better. I do know one thing I'm 100% sure of, and I believe in, is I'll be okay.
Yeah, that was
so when they showed me the door out, I walk outside.
Wow.
It is my time where I believe that all the things, because I truly, truly believe that all my adversities, or anybody of our listeners' challenges, it's a blessing in disguise. It has taught me so many things. It's because of those challenges, I was able to face my homelessness with grace. I was able to face the shame with patience. It's because of all the mini lessons that I learned from a very young age, and believing and trusting that I'll be okay in regardless. Yeah. And I truly, in that time, I made the decision, this is the time I was born to. So I chose every day how I overcome that to overcome. I became an overcomer. Every single thing that comes, I decided I'm gonna rise above how I felt today. Sleeping in people's couches. I had no idea. I truly, truly believe that every single person, we are not given a Mount Everest to climb if we're not ready and equipped to climb it.
Yes. Yes.
I can look back and I can feel like I used to, oh my God, because all my neighbors, I did not go far. I was like 3 minutes away from my house. Someone stepped in with someone I had no relation with. It's a woman that I used to walk with her in the morning every now and then. If we go exercise, we meet up on the road. We go a different way. We meet up on the road, and then we talk 5 minutes, 10 minutes while she goes to her home, and then we separate. I went to my house. Yeah. God, I believe, or the universe, some people call it. I prefer to call it God. Yeah. He's always waiting. And I love this Bible verse that it's always in my heart since I grow up, is he's always knocking at the door.
Yes,
And
I
he's
love that.
knocking day in and day out. When we are happy, when we are sad, every single time, every single second, every single minute in my life and in anybody's life, he's knocking.
Yes.
And some can call it intuition, some can call it their higher self. I call it God, because I knew that because, and I was buried in so much anger. I was buried in so much disbelief. I was buried in so much shame. I was buried in so much hurt. And I was buried in so much pain, and I suffer because of that, because I chose now to hold on. I was very aware.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so when would you say in that moment when, because you said it was a blessing in disguise that they showed you the door, was it in this moment that you realized that you were the biggest contributing factor to what had happened? And did you then start going on this development journey, or was something else happening that made you want to learn more about yourself and work through your past?
Thank you. Looking back, I'm always on that journey.
Yeah.
I was always like, I was the youth leader in my church for so long. I became a Sunday school teacher. These are all prior to when I was married.
Wow.
I was the youngest member of our women's group in my community back home. And I look back, it's like my life is perfect. I was brought up to this role from a very young age, and I was born the eldest in my family. And I was taught to be tough and to shoulder on whatever is going on. And all of that have its problem, its challenges. At the same time, they had built me to be the person I am. And when I came to Australia, I did staff development here, personal development here. This is way before I became a coach. And I stuck into what I believe in, and that's a lot. So when I reached that point, I knew it wasn't a aha moment that, oh my God, I was a contributor. I knew it every single time that I put myself in a position where it's bring me more hurt or more pain. I knew that I contribute. I knew it. And the rebellious side of me who wanted to, it is my unmet needs, just trying to make herself significance in this world.
Yeah.
I knew it from the beginning, every single time, from a very young age. No. And I used to ask, why me? Why was I born in this family? Why was I born in this body? Why was I born in this country? When I step into the role of being a wife, I knew all the problems that happens in my marriage. I contribute to it.
Yes.
I knew it in my mind, in my heart. I wasn't able to figure out a way of how I get out of that. How I get out of that was my best way was to stand up for what I believe in, which is
that was my question.
Getting more hurt and more pain.
Yeah. Wow, what a story, Tokilupe. Thank you so much. And so what would be a piece of advice to somebody, because you work with women who are stuck in their life after being divorced. So what is an advice you can give to them to be able to move forward and build themselves up again?
Thank you, Adria. What I can say, and the thing that comes to my mind is a ship that always in the dock is not a safe ship.
Oh my God, I love
A ship
this.
that is always on the dock
Yeah.
is not a safe ship.
Yeah.
And in our journey in this world, we all yearn to feel significant.
Yes.
We all yearn. It's our utmost needs to feel that we have a sense of belonging in any context. And in my area, which is whether it's in your workplace, whether it's in your family, you're in your workplace, or in your relationship, or with your friends, what is important is within ourselves.
Yeah.
And a safe ship who will always be in is not the one that sit in the dock.
Yeah.
Because those ship has never experienced challenges and adversity and problems, because they never knew, that captain will never knew how to navigate life challenges
through the storm. Yes.
Because they always at the dock.
Yeah, I love this. You really are the queen of metaphors. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
You're most
and
welcome.
I love that you're pointing out, I've heard it a few times in our conversation, that we all long for significance. And it is so true, because significance is part of our core needs. We are born with that need for significance. And that's what it is also in relationships. As soon as one partner tries to dominate the other, he takes the significance out of that partner, and problems arise. So it's really about having a balance, respecting each other, and allowing each of the partners to shine in their way.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. It's a fight for power. That's what it is.
Yes.
We all want to feel powerful, and like I said, a safe ship who does not want to go out, who will never leave the dock, will never know, will never land. And I saw this, which means that to our listeners, you are more than, every single one of us will say, well, but I did not know it. Truly, I truly believe, because in my own experience, I knew what is right from what is wrong.
Yeah,
I knew it from the beginning. Yes. My heart was always telling me that if you go ahead with this argument, it will end up in angry land. It will end up in frustration land. It will end up in more fight land. But I go ahead. We all knew it deep down in our soul what is right and what is wrong. Even when we're in an abusive relationship, even when we are in whether it's the relationship is at home. Yeah. And the most importantly is the abusive relationship we have with ourselves.
Absolutely, I agree.
We knew it deep down that this is not okay, but because we want to live that life, we want to escape fast. The only way we can get over and courageously face those adversity is going back. I remember I was watching this. I love historical documentaries, and it was one of the kings in the Chinese dynasty in the 750 AD. That's what it says on the movie. And the king was seeking advice from one of his trusted advisors. And this person, which I find really interesting, he says, in order to be a great and sage king, in order to rule the country, start from the community. In order to have, he had to govern the community really well. In order to govern the community really well, he had to govern the family really well. home will be the number one. How if he can handle home, he can handle the other two. But in order to govern his family well, he had to first govern himself. Which is we're all in this journey of discovering ourselves.
Absolutely.
And in order to have the best relationship with others, is to have the best relationship with myself. When I reached my lowest point in my life, which is having no shelter over my roof, I traced back, and it was painful to open, to pull the new rep out.
Yeah, I love that. And then on that note, I'd like to only make one more comparison, because you mentioned that King, to govern his community, had to govern his family, and to govern his family well, he had to govern himself well. And we can see that today in leadership roles. A leader can only be a good leader if he knows himself well enough, and if he can lead himself well enough, then he's able to lead a team. And I'd love to thank you for this conversation, Tokilupe. It was so valuable. There were so many gold nuggets for our viewers to take out. It was one after the other. You gave us so much value. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in your business and in supporting all these women who need your help. And yeah, thank you. That was a beautiful conversation to have. Thank you very much.
I just want to end our because I feel I did not really answer your question of what will be a piece of advice that I can give our audience is, yes, if you want to truly live what you truly know, it will not start from your coach. It's not going to start from your mom and your dad or your husband. It starts from the believing that you are more than your problems. You are more than the homelessness. You are more than the abuse that is going on emotionally, physically, or socially that is going on in your life. You know that you are more than any negative thoughts that is going on in your mind, and understand that the negative story that comes to your mind, it's your younger self wanted to feel significant, wants to feel held and heard. And we cannot, I have seen it in my life. We cannot flip our life around and create a total new life without dealing with what happened in the past. Absolutely. Because it doesn't, they say we can run, but we will never hide.
Yeah.
We can run away as much as we want, and it's tiring. I've done it for 44 years.
Yeah.
I'm not 39 years. And the last 5 years was, if you're single, enjoy being single. Singleness is the foundation of great relationship. Yeah. Because when you are able to embrace you, buy yourself the flower you want somebody else to buy for you, take yourself out to dinner if that's the ideal thing anything that is ideal in your relationship, do it for you first.
I agree.
Because as we love like in the Bible, I love this verse, you love your neighbor as you love yourself. It did not command us to love people first before we love ourselves. We love our neighbors, we love our husband, we love our friend, we love our boss, we love everything by first loving ourselves first.
Yes.
And if you feel that to be safe is to stay in the dark, then sister, you will circulate this, because you're only doing your best with what you know until you know better. And I know better. I had to go through divorce. And because of my adversity, I decided I'll be the best example wife for my example husband. I will be the best mother and I created that environment of divorce. We had no custody over our children. I walked out and start over. I left everything. We did not have anything in my home. Everything stays there as it is, because I truly believe, what if a man can gain the whole world and lose his own soul? My soul was intact. I was shattered in pieces, and I was not broken. And my advice and just my word of inspiration, yes, you can be broken. Yes, you will go through hell and back, but know that you're the only person. I am the only person who flick my lights on. You know, they say there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Sister, the light, no one else will turn it on for you. You have to have the courage to stand up and say, I am more than what I'm going through right now, and crawl if you need to crawl. And do whatever you can to reach out to the light and flick it, because you are the light. Shine away and get yourself out of there.
Yes.
And
beautiful.
Yeah.
You are the light. I love it. Thank you so much for this powerful message, Tokilupe.
You're most welcome.
Love it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.